Hello again. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. My name is Wayne Marinovich. I'm a resilience coach here on A Resilient Path. Today's coaching video is just particularly looking at something that so many people in midlife suffer from, and this is a lack of purpose. You'll hear it all over the place with friends and family who are in this kind of age group. You'll hear a sort of growing desperation in their midlife era, where they're constantly looking for something. It's like they've lost themselves, and they have this special kind of desperation that really sets in with everybody who hits this milestone in life. And I think on the surface, many people will look like it's okay because of what they've achieved. They have a great life. They've got a family. They've got all these kind of things. So all the things that their 20-year-old self would have dreamt of, right? So you probably have ticked off all the boxes. You've got a career path where you've climbed the ladder. You're successful as a boss. You might have a home with a lot of furnishings and great things around the house, memories packed with memories and photographs all over the place. You might have family, lots of pets. You certainly have accumulated a lot of valuable experiences. And the thing here is you followed the script, right? You've done all the work, and yet somehow underneath all this veneer of success and happiness, you sort of feel a bit unplugged. It's like you're a bit lost and drifting. So I'm just going to show you a quick slide of some of the words that I hear most with coaching clients of this age group, which I specialize in. That's what my resilience coaching thing is about. People in middle age, men and women who need some guidance. Right, so people in middle age or midlife tend to use the same kind of words, and it's they're listless, stuck in the same place. They feel like they're drifting. Maybe they talk about a lack of ambition that seems to no longer be there. They're low energy. They feel like they've hit a wall. They're filled with mental and emotional fog. I think it's a lot of boredom, and particularly people start to feel invisible. And none of these feelings, I think, happen because people have become lazy. That's just not what it is. I think wanting to sit on the couch all day doesn't mean it's from a point of laziness. It just seems like the fuel, all that the energy that you had for the first part of your life has now run dry, and you just don't you don't really know where to go next. I think popular culture will then come to you with some pretty useless advice, right? It'll say, right, you need to go and find yourself. You'll see all the books and all the meditations and the self-help gurus that say these words. You need to go and rediscover your purpose, or go and discover it. None of these are helpful. They're actually quite damaging, because I think it sort of suggests that inside you, your true self, is hidden away somewhere in your past, right? It was there and then it's gone. So therefore, it must still be hidden away somewhere, and it's waiting for you to miraculously come and excavate it. It sort of implies that, if you look inward long enough and hard enough, go to a whole lot of retreats, go and climb some distant mountain, or buy your Harley Davidson and do Route 66, that you'll find yourself. And this is what I'm here to tell you, is you need to just stop digging in your past for any clues. The person you were when you were 25 is not going to be able to save the person who you are at 40 or 50. Okay, so stop digging and start building. This is the whole concept of the video, is really you have to start building a version 2.0, right? A new version of yourself. And this is really one of the great coaching tips that I have, is to stop looking back and to pivot and start looking forward. So how did we get here to the state of midlife sort of stalemate, should we say? You've got to start understanding that the old ways that you used to probably won't work for you right now. Okay? So why do so many capable, intelligent adults suddenly hit that wall? And I remember reading somewhere a great saying, and where it says it's not a crisis of failure, it's a crisis of completion. So you you haven't failed, but you've now completed that first part of your life. And so where does it come from? How did we get there? For 20 or 30 years, you were guided by clear external markers and biological imperatives. These were your clear goals of striving at work, starting on the bottom of the corporate ladder, getting up and climbing, getting that promotion that you really pushed hard for and worked a lot of late nights for, paying down your mortgage after many years. You build your wealth. You've hopefully done some kind of planning for retirement. You've raised children into sufficiency, and they are now maybe moving out. Right? These were all magnets that pulled you forward, right? Through all the daily grind, all the shit that hits you every day, in your little details in your life, all of these tick boxes, these goals, part of the life checklist that we've been educated into what a successful life would be. Then one day you wake up and you've ticked all of them, right? You've completed most things, maybe not everything, but most of those things that you wanted, you've achieved. So the urgency to prove yourself has faded because you've done it. You've got the t-shirt, you've got it all. So what happened? And I think the greatest thing to understand is that it was an autopilot. In the end, it became like an autopilot, let's put it that way. They trapped you in there. So, to manage your chaos of your daily life from your 20s to your 50s or 40s or 50s, you would have developed some kind of routines to handle those chaos and build your life, right? Over the decades, your neural pathways in your brain would have allowed you to get into some kind of autopilot so that a lot of the activities just became routine. But because of that, the autopilot always sort of worked on programmed routes, right? It understood what it had to do automatically without you having to think about it. But now, because you've ticked all these boxes and your goals for life have been fulfilled, that autopilot has got nowhere to go to. It's got nowhere to look at. It's the destination, let's say, has disappeared. And so you no longer have those goals to guide you. So your autopilot just keeps circling there, circling the airport. It doesn't know where to go. And that's that feeling of stuck, being listless. It's not that it's failure or laziness. It's that, well, I've done everything. Now what? And that's the follow-up question. When you say, I don't know what my purpose is in life. Well, that's the now what. That's the most important thing, right? It feels like, kind of, I always joke because I'm ex-IT guy. It feels like you've got your operating system for your youth, right, has ended. It's done now. And you have, you've sort of, its sell-by date is over, and your laptop in your brain is now tired and it's finished. So one thing you've got to do is what happened to the whys, right? Why do you do this? Why do you get up in the morning? These have all evaporated. And guess what? You've got nothing to replace them with. And I'm not talking about retirement here. I'm talking about, things you used to get up for in the morning have now been achieved. Well, when you've got them, looking back at them is no point, right? You're not going to find your path or your happiness in your past. It really takes quite a big paradigm shift for a lot of my clients, and for you, maybe if you're struggling, to find a new person in you. And this is what I do with the coaching, and it's a very simple concept. It's version 1.0 and version 2.0, okay? So you have to start shifting your thinking straight off the bat from trying to find to trying to build. Don't find yourself, build a new self. Finding your purpose can sort of feel heavy because there's a pressure on you to just find that one thing, right? I just need to find one thing. Whereas building a new identity is a bit more creative. It makes you lighter because you're more fluid. And that's what we are as humans. We're quite fluid in the world. Things change. And so the goal here is to allow yourself the time to create something based on all your experiences and the things you enjoy doing. Your version 1.0 was largely reactive to the world's demands, right? Your version 1.0 was about status, achievement, and acquisition. It was about your ego justifying its place in the world. That was as a young person, you had that. Right? Your version 2.0 must be proactive. It must be fiercely designed by you, by your good self, for yourself. It is about new big goals. It's about meaning, it's about contribution, it's about using experience. Who you're going to be when you're not trying to impress anybody anymore. That is your true self. So I borrowed that concept off Carl Jung. Carl Jung has always said, the psychiatrist, has always said that life is two parts. It's the ego and it's the true self. And I think when you realize that right now you're switching from one to the other, you'll start to take a few deep breaths and understand it's not the end, but it's the start. All right. So one of the things that I do is literally the blueprint for your future. Okay, let's call it creating your visions and your horizon goals. Your vision is what you want, and your horizon goals are those things on the horizon that pull your gaze, that are those magnets. I think most men and women that I speak to have stopped setting goals. They're in the middle of their life, and I get it. Bit of time behind you, right? So you stop checking up, you stop looking ahead. So those distant magnets, those beacons that pull you, those seem to have gone, right? Because you've ticked those boxes. So all you're doing now is you're setting yourself maintenance goals, which is, get through the week, hit the weekend, play golf on the weekend, pay your bills every day, paint the spare room, whatever, fix the car. Those are maintenance goals, everyday maintenance goals, but the larger horizon goals are missing, and that's why you're stuck, and your autopilot is just flying a circling pattern around your life. So the goal of version 2.0 is very simple, to help you get something in your life that lifts your goals when you're struggling, most importantly when you're struggling. So you now when you were young, you had that, like the earlier thing I shared with you, your life checklist. Those were your goals. They were predefined by society. Well, now society is sort of done with you, and it's left you on your own, and you're a bit lost. That's why I'm here. So here's some exercises, 3 main exercises that I've got a lot of others, but these are some of the exercises that I picked 3 from. And the first one is really for people who are really stuck. Okay, so if I say to you, what do you want to do? And you can't see it at all. You can't see any kind of future. You just don't know. So if I asked you, right, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? You kind of just shrug your shoulders and go, I don't know. And this is the perfect kind of exercise. You may also be burnt out. A lot of us have been dreaming big for such a long time that you have a bit of burnout. So it's understandable that now you've got to create a big vision. You're like, I can't do that anymore, right? And to articulate it, to get it out on paper, it does help, and it's something that you absolutely might not want to do. All right. So this is what the exercise literally entails, and it's take a piece of paper, write everything down in your current life that drains you, things that bore you, so things that feel misaligned with you, who you think you should be, right? Maybe you should be doing something else in your life. You've always wanted to, even though you had a good career. For example, I didn't want to commute 90 minutes a day. I don't want to manage people who don't care about their own work. I don't want to be chronically inflamed and tired all the time. I don't want to have my social life that only consists of shallow business dinners. I'm tired of always being broke and living month to month. I don't always want to be out of breath when I play with my dog or my kids. Be ruthless here, because this is, as I said, it's your anti-vision list. Write a list of things that you don't want to do. Okay? Spend some time on this. Take a week. Every time you think of something, you put a note on your phone. Once you have the list, you need to, very simple trick, you realize that everything that's the opposite of that is the start of your vision, right? So I'm always tired, I'm out of breath, I'm overweight, I can't play with the kids or the dog. Well, your vision is to be, I will be healthy and fit and able to play with the dogs and the kids. So that's the kind of idea that I want you to get to. So it's sort of the boundary of your vision, right? You know exactly the point you want to move away from. So it's your starting point from where you want to get to. The second exercise is what I call, it's a vision list, right? But it's framed around a 5-year ideal Tuesday. So 5 years time, a Tuesday, what is your ideal day, right? Because it's easy to have these grand visions, right? Someday I want to climb Mount Everest. Well, that's a grand vision, but it can paralyze you, right? You first got to start climbing little mountains first. So this exercise helps you with a little bit more granularity. So the little steps that you might need along the way. Forget about job titles or bank balances for a moment. Let's just design an ideal Tuesday afternoon 5 years from now. In your version 2.0, what time do you wake up? What does your body feel like? Do you feel strong, rested, flexible? Who are you going to have coffee with today? What are you going to talk about? What engaging work or project are you busy with during most of the days of your week? Some things that bring you flow and excitement, not necessarily a paycheck. Remember, in this exercise, as I said, money is not the object. So think about it as if money is not a problem. What environment is it all around you? Is it a bustling city? Are you sitting on a quiet mountain town? Is it a beach restaurant? How does your day end? This exercise moves you from an abstract concepts of success to concrete experiences of living. So when you're sitting quietly with your eyes closed, it gives you a detailed picture of your ideal view. And I use this till today. Sometimes you'll have a bad day and I'll go and sit quietly and I'll have my vision list or my vision movie, let's call it, that I sit to and I play it to myself, and it calms me down and it just helps me put the things in perspective. That allows me to move forward. And that's the goal here is, again, remember what I said, your purpose will come from the magnets of your future that pull you forward. The last exercise that we just go through is something called the legacy letter. So this brings it back to something which, when you hit midlife, you'll think about, and that's your mortality, right? We are now a lot more time behind us than we do ahead of us. And I think you realize that more when you sort of hit midlife. It's part of what the whole traditional midlife crisis was about, is that your time is finite on this planet. It's not a morbid concept. It's just helping you to clarify and get clarity that you still have a lot of things that you can do in your time. So imagine you are 85 years old, you're sitting on a porch looking back at your life. You're content. You're writing a letter to the person who you are today, the person who feels stuck. What does your 85-year-old self tell you? Right? What regrets you managed to avoid by taking action right now? What risks were worth taking in your future to get to that happy place? What worries consume you now that your 85-year-old self would laugh about? What would you be remembered for by 3 or 4 of your people that are closest to you in that time ahead? And the letter filters out the noise and the highlights and highlights your true values. When your future self tells you to spend more time creating and less time consuming, that's kind of a directive for now. So if it's almost like a reverse psychology here. You're almost going, you're having a person come back from the future, from that ideal Tuesday letter, who's telling you, listen, it's okay, you've succeeded, right? What does that success mean? So I think just from a little bit of final bits on this is, I think if you are stuck, if you're feeling stuck, you're in midlife, it's not a life sentence. You're not going to stay like this, right? It's a signal to you that, okay, something's happened. It's your psyche telling you right now that your operating system or that you had for your youth is now over. I've said that before. I think the great, was it Victor Hugo, had a great quote where he said, 40s are the old age of youth and 50s are the youth of old age. You've got to see this as not a sentence, but a great opportunity, a great start, an exciting start. So set the goals, make them exciting. Don't ignore that you're in midlife, but don't obsess about it. Don't spend so much time thinking about it that you're not actually getting out and doing stuff. Okay, find some things you want to do, maybe the things you never got to do. Put them on that list. Aim forward. I use a regular analogy in all my coaching of like a bunch of chain links. That's all from a single chain bunched together. Right? You can't push a chain and get it in a straight line. You just can't. You grab the end and you pull it in a straight line. That's what you're trying to do here. You're trying to pull your life forward from your horizon goals and that end point. So this time is it's an invitation, to take the wheel again and not have to live a checkbox life that the government or the education or society or the corporate world tells you have to do. It's an opportunity to change your direction, and that's the key thing here. I think, create a journey with a whole lot of new boxes to tick, and that's the imperative thing here. Just knowing, that you have an incredible amount of experience. You've got wisdom, hopefully some good resources that you didn't have when you were 20. You started from scratch here. You're not starting from scratch, I think. Just stop searching for something back there, something in the past, and then waiting for epiphany to strike, right? Pick up some of the tools, start identifying your version 2.0, and it's different for you, different for me, but construct something for the second half of your life. That will straight away make quite a big change in you being stuck. You get that excitement going. I try and help my clients to come up with these awesome lives for themselves, especially when they're struggling. I need a bit of guidance, and they reach out to me. So, if you're struggling at all, just seriously, reach out and we can have a chat. And the first half an hour, I always do a half an hour taster session where I can see if I can help you, or if you have some issues that maybe you have to go to a therapist for, or you're better, you're okay, and you don't really need a full program, a few sessions. You just need one or two things. Really, just tap me up. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button so you know more. You'll know when the videos drop. All this interaction that I get, leave some comments. The interaction helps Google realize that it's a good video that can help others, and therefore will put it in front of other people. So as always, I wish you peace and great beer.